So you want a good FPS set in future worlds with robots that isn't filled with microtransactions and ton of paid DLC, and is made by a studio that actually listens to their fans where they say things, and isn't produced by the Satan of the gaming community. Okay, EA is pretty bad, but that's beside the point. At least they didn't go bait people with a game they knew everybody loved, and then went and slapped it onto the new one to make sure people bought it. It is actually a good game. Well, look no further than Respawn's redemption for their last letdown version of this game, Titanfall 2, the game we actually wanted. So many of you may know, Titanfall 2 is the sequel to one of the most hyped games of 2014, and it kind of failed to live up to those expectations in many aspects, but the biggest two are the lack of the single player and the lasting appeal for the game. Yet this time, Respawn has actually listened to the community. You hear that almost every other game studio out there? This is how you make a not shit game. And have actually expanded on the ideas and groundwork from what they had before. So let's get into it with things I really like about this game. While I didn't play the first Titanfall a whole lot, I feel like the addition of a campaign could pull people in more, and that is what including the campaign did in this case. It's not a half-assed campaign just to show off some pretty graphics and a few mechanics. It's, while not the longest, only about 5 hours, and not the most amazing groundbreaking story, it does have expertly crafted level design using slowly progressing mechanics that the game introduces, and quickly takes that mechanic and expands on it a few minutes later. Is very impressive, and also the level designs are very impressive too and creative. Having one gimmick in a mission while being a one-off thing is probably one of my favorite gimmicks I have seen in any game. I love for that gimmick to be an honestly its own standalone game, or just to come back as a bigger part of the next game if they make one. Also, near the end, it has one of the most exhilarating chase scenes and one of the best chase scenes I've ever played, and being a chase scene that's actually engaging while not just chasing after some person. And while the story isn't groundbreaking, does do the job. In building a relationship with this Titan you just happen to have to work with after being left behind on this random island after attacking this militia group called the IMC. Past the campaign, though, certain aspects of the game are spot on, such as the movement and gunplay. While much faster and more frantic than Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, you can tell it was made by the old team that worked on that game, being that the physics work very well and the gunplay feels satisfying, like you are in control, and the movement is quick and precise. While only a few times I had felt I got stuck on a wall and didn't really feel like I was in control where I was going, and that was largely when I was flying through windows and got stuck on the windowsill or something. Guns are all unique in their own aspect. While I don't use snipers because I don't care to use them in a fast-paced game like this, and I feel like it's a little less possible to use, all the guns are still enjoyable with their wide range and vary. And as for Titans, they're upgraded from 3 to 6 classes, and they all have their own unique abilities, while some are more powerful than others, which I will talk about in a minute. The battle between Titans are frantic, but exhilarating, and you need some sort of strategy for depending on what kind of Titan you're up against, such as a sword fighter, and then a guy with a minigun. They're all fun to play, and they have their pros and cons. Next, and finally, the pros of the multiplayer, which takes the aspects of the campaign and puts them to use. It makes a strategic yet fast-paced multiplayer. While this is a casual game, it changed the way you get Titans. Instead of everyone getting a Titan, you have to earn it, which makes sense, which most people still get a Titan. It just depends on when you get it. And as for the lasting appeal, while it could be better for customization-wise for your person, you get the customization of the color of your Titan's gun, the color of the Titan, your gun, and your clothes. And this is where it could be expanded on a decent amount by letting us change each piece of armor, or the type of armor, and the same thing goes for our clothing, but I think there's enough for now. But custom classes have a wide variety, yet not overwhelming amount of abilities and options for your guns, and having a total of 8 classes to choose from. And they are all unique and change the way you play. From the grappling hook to becoming invisible, they all change your strategy as a whole. There are also 11 game types, which I can't judge all of them. I only played attrition and amped hardpoint, but it seems to have a variety game type wise, and the maps are also very well made, matching the fluidity of the combat and also promote movement, from going to the tops of buildings and giving the players who use height and quick movement an advantage. And as a whole, the multiplayer is damn fun to play, and the game's port for the PC is pretty damn good too, as I can get near 50 to 60 FPS performance on a 4K screen with 1970, which is pretty damn impressive. There's also a damn good looking game not that of Battlefield 1, but it does hold its own. And as a whole, the game only has a few things that I could truly nitpick. Though at first, just the fact that I feel the game has more depth customization-wise. Then there's a balance that could be an issue with Titan-wise in the multiplayer, as the Legion is a little OP from what I can tell. It could just be me, but I've seen others complain about it too, and this could easily be fixed. Story-wise, I wish it would be a little more in-depth, for characters could be a little more interesting, and the campaign as a whole could be expanded on into this bigger universe. I feel like this is just a test run for the campaign as a whole if they do make a new one. And also, the story was kind of easy, as bosses almost at times felt like they were regular enemies. And those are the only few small things I personally had a problem with, which aren't even really that prominent, because a lot of these could be fixed with patches. But sadly, for the game, EA kind of screwed them over by placing this game between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. One of the dumbest marketing decisions ever. So this game had no chance, and it shows as the sales haven't reached their goals as they said, and this is affecting their confidence on whether they will come out with a third one. And so if you like FPSs, I highly recommend this game, because this game needs some support. And if you're deciding whether to get this or say COD Advanced Warfare, then I think it's a pretty easy choice. Get Titanfall 2. But yep, that is it for Titanfall 2. Is a damn good game that shows what can happen when developers listen to their fan base, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that likes FPSs. Nonetheless, that is it for my review. Let me know what you thought of the game, or if you plan on getting it now. And my name is the Arcane Keyblit, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.